What is up, YouTube? Day 2 of the Volvo, unfortunately. I was hoping to get started on this right after work today. I got hung up. We had a customer coming to pick stuff up. There was one issue that I didn't see, so ended up having to fix and repair that. Mad dash scramble over here, but a bunch of the gym equipment's gone, wheels are gone. So kind of a lot of customers and a lot of stuff, plus more big giants fence railings that came in. So, you know, life does not slow down because my stuff is broken, which means this went back up in the air so I could get in and out from underneath here. But we left off yesterday. I finally wrestled that timing belt out. I don't remember exactly where it was or how I ended that last video, but hopefully that was the end of that one. Today, I don't have all that much time, but I gotta get that water pump out of there. That is right here. That guy right there, that cog on the left hand side, that aluminum housing, that is the water pump. So I think I need to move that tensioner idler pulley out of the way. Should be one T45 bolt on there, and then the water pump itself should be a bunch of 10 mils around that. So I think, as far as I'm aware, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if that idler has to come out, but I feel like it might just be easier if it is out. Do I try it, or do I attempt to, what's up here? Oh, you know what? Actually, it doesn't have to come out. I can get to all these bolts. I just gotta uncomfortably move that out of the way. So, let me grab a 10 mil. We'll start ripping these water pump bolts out and see if we can do this mostly from the bottom and then lower it and do it from the top. Got a couple that are quick and easily accessible here. Put you behind middle. Come on, Magnet. You can do it. I have faith in you. So I can get to that one and that one. This one over here on the corner is a little bit more difficult just because that pulley kind of gets in the way. So I'm going to set you guys here. It's kind of that weird in between where an extension's too long. I don't have a short enough one. Drop light. Extension doesn't help. Maybe a full length 10 mil might actually be a little bit better here, but we'll get the ones on the bottom that we can get to. Come on, stick to something, Magnet. Very tight quarters, but they're little 10 mils, so they're not crazy tight. Swivel head definitely helps a little bit here. And we're gonna have to drop it down and get up top at some point. Oh, these are actually extremely loose. Should have paid for the locking head one. You know what? I'm going to see if I can get a ratchet. Got these all broken free. See if we can get lucky. I'm guessing not. Nope. And cue time lapse. But now we'll drop this down. Go back from the top. Alright, the top ones I should be able to get to from up here. Alright. Very easy to get to, actually. 2 more bolts here. Then we'll see how bad this bearing is. It looks like a factory part with 280,000 miles on it, so I'm guessing, well, maybe it was done when the timing belt was done. The last change was done 69,000 here. There was a separate one somewhere for the timing belt too. Well, that's at 69,782 miles. I don't know if and when that's been done since, but if that's the case, we're now at 289,000 miles, not 69,782. So we are, shit. Remember what I said about bottoming out on the frame? Just did that. Come on. Volvo, where everything's just enough size for what it wants to be. So I go back to the small one. Now that stupid tensioner pulley thing that I said to take out is in the way. I think it's only 1 bolt on there too. Alright, I'm actually going to make this a little easier on myself. I am going to pull off that tensioner. Just now that I got everything apart and sitting here, to me it makes more sense. As long as this can come off relatively easily. It's one T45. So you can get to it from the top. Not the ball or the bearing part. It's right in here. So as long as I can get a socket in here, we'll give it a shot. If it doesn't clear, then we'll leave it on. Not a bad idea to replace that all at once too. Again, I'm trying to get the ratchet on and hope that there's enough clearance, which, as of right now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think there is. And this is a GoPro something. This standard Torx is too big, too long. So that's gonna stay on there, unfortunately. And we're down to the last bolt anyway, so. The gasket surface scraped up there. Couple issues. Gasket super crushed and not flat. So I think what I'm gonna do is open this up and we're gonna squish the crap out of this overnight. I am going to be siliconing around this. Gasket is going to go onto the water pump first, silicone on the backside. Then we'll do a little spritz of silicone on the new pump here. So, new one. It spins, but it's got some drag to it. Unlike our however many mile pump. Where did I put it? Where the hell did I put that? I'm losing my goddamn mind today. Seems to be the theme this week. Oh. Honestly, this doesn't feel all that bad, but it doesn't take much for it to start leaking out that weep hole. So, if I have silicone, we'll try and jam this in there tonight, I think. If not, it'll wait. So let me dig around. I don't have any silicone up here. I have tons at the house. Oh, shoot. Just kidding. Last spot to check, right? So we're gonna go for it. just because I'm impatient. And anything I can do today to get me farther ahead is going to drastically help me in the long run. So I've done this on other bikes and other things. I don't know if you followed any of the older car stuff, the Ford, the Falcon, any of the 302 builds, but I'm not doing like a giant thick coat. I'm just making myself very dirty and doing a thin little skim coat around here. I don't need a bead per se. The gasket in theory should do its own job, but this, one, acts like a glue and will allow it to tack up, and two, gives you a little bit more of a buffer if the mating surfaces are all good. So I don't know why I do it this way. I don't know why I started doing it this way. It's just kind of peace of mind. Essentially, you're taking a gasket and adding a tiny bit of sealer to it, which should help it compress a little bit. So there's that. Let me try and get some, well, there's no point in getting it off my hands, but let me see if I can jam this gasket up here. And then we'll start dealing with the working window of getting the new one in. I know you guys probably can't see this. That's okay. Take my word for it. There are two dowels on this motor. One at the bottom, one at the top. I'm going for the bottom one first, with the top kind of clocked out. So that's kind of, oh my God, there's no friggin' room on anything in here. That's kind of where we're at. Gaskets on there, on the dowels. The two dowels are good. I'm gonna go around with the screwdriver and push those other little bits down. I don't know if I'm gonna film any of that. Well, I'll leave it running, but that's what I'm doing. Because my fingers are sticking to everything now. We're gonna let that just kind of set up and get comfy where it wants to be. God, it'd be so much better if that didn't get crushed in the box that they sent it in. Put an extra little smidge on the back side of this gasket right here where it's being stubborn. And that actually looks pretty good. It's sitting on there much better now. It's not curling off except for that one bolt on the top. So if you're sick of this and don't care about any of it, hit the next button and wait till we start getting back into things that I enjoy doing. This I don't enjoy, but the channel is called Wrenching Wrecked for a reason. It's kind of like, not that I've ever done it, but like beer in hand volleyball. The expectation is you're playing beer in hand. That's kind of how we're doing this. And all the stupid stuff that I have to do, because I'm too cheap to pay other people to do it 95% of the time. Unless you're going out of town. Man, this is a pain in the ass. Now we're stuck on something. This would be so much easier if you pulled the belt tensioner first. Come on. Come on, you. All right, we're up and in the cavity. Now, it's a matter of lining this up on the dowels that I can't really see at all. Is that in? Go ahead. Somebody make the joke. Oh, of course not. Shit. Mother trucker. Okay. Round two, new version. I'm gonna pull this off. I'm gonna silicone the back of it. I'm actually gonna make sure that this thing is fully seated on there before we even attempt to wrestle that in. On the pump side, this is the problem with getting parts in a box that I just opened up and seeing a gasket that was crushed. It's trying to recoil where it was bent. So, out we go. Not a lot. Just enough to give it something to bite to and hold it in place. See the warpage? Stick, 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 stick. Up and over on the dowel pin. This is sticking much better this time. Okay, round 2 is already a million times better. It's almost sitting flat now. Let's see if I can get that to do what it's supposed to. And stick. Because this is not really an easy fit in. That's looking much better now. I wonder if it's easier from the top. Should we try it from the top one time while we're sitting here? It's just hard with that tensioner pulley still connected. If I had a torque short enough, I would pull that off and make this way easier, but I don't. Not a bad idea to remove and replace those pulleys as well. But it is what it is. Get a Volvo, they said. Let's see how much room we got up top. See, I think it's actually worse. I definitely don't want to come anywhere near these cam gears. If I pull this tube, I might have enough room. I think that might be worse. I wonder what that's for. Nope, we're going up from the bottom. I tried. And things were out of here. That would have been so much room. But this is what we're stuck with. All right. See if I can figure out the smoothest Tetris method here. I don't know if I need to go backside first. I've done this a bunch of times now. I think I'd have it figured out. Goes in this way. Like that. So I think. Friggin' Volvo engineers. Let's make everything as tight as possible. All right, so we're kind of up there now. Pull our tensioner up and out of the way. Almost there. There we go. Once you're up into the pocket, it's not nearly as bad. Theoretically, still not good. Ah, the stupid friggin' tensioner. Okay, so now we're there. Now, find the dowels. We're on the bottom. And is that the top? I think that's it. I think we're on. Let's grab some. The new kit did come with new bolts, so we're gonna throw those in. We're gonna go by hand on every one to make sure that these are good. Here's what we're looking like. Water pumps in, 2 bolts kind of threaded. But I need to make sure all of these threaded by hand before we go any further. I'll only be able to get to X amount of these, 6 of them maybe. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those on the bottom set up, and now it's genuinely sliding on the dowels really nicely. So we got 4, I got 3 more. I think I can get to 1 more down here from below. And then the other 2 are definitely gonna have to go up top. Ah, shit. Let's just go up top. It's easier. A lift is cool. Kind of. But when you're doing top-bottom stuff, like this would genuinely be one of those jobs that I would have been able to do on the ground. The lift is nice, just a little bit slower going up and down, up and down, up and down for this part. But I don't mind the pace. We're not in a race. This isn't a customer job that needs to get done and out as much as I want it to be. And shit. Go figure. As soon as we drop the car down low is when I'm gonna start dropping bolts. And then we're gonna have to kind of crisscross these going back in. So I gotta find the bolt that I dropped on the ground. And I got 1 more. Which one am I missing? Let's do the top one. Jeez. Do Europeans have little tiny hands? Struggling here. What are the odds the bolt fell all the way to the ground? Don't see it. Oh, I got stuck on the control arm shield. All right, 1 more bolt. That shouldn't be that bad, but I can't. Okay, bolts are on. So now, the fun bit. We're gonna start up top, just snugging some of these up. We're not going tight. But we'll rotate this around until we're getting a little bit of tension on it. The camera died in the midst of doing that. But we do have the water pump installed now. I was kind of doing the lift thing up and down. All of the bolts are actually torqued. We went around basically left, right, top, bottom, top right, bottom left, top left, bottom right. Just kind of crisscross it. Pretty standard practice. If you've done this a ton of times, I'm not going to walk you through the details. I don't know what the actual torque value is. I did not put a wrench on here, but I know what they felt like coming out, and I tightened them down back to that point. So now we are pretty much ready to start putting the timing belt back in. I don't think I'm going to do that one tonight because that might try my patience a little bit more. Not going to lie, I'm exhausted. Worked all day today, and tomorrow, provided the weather cooperates, we're back on that trailer one more time. And I hate working in puddles of coolant. So I think what we're gonna do instead is drop this down a little bit. Oh, maybe we should go back up. I do want to compare the old belt to the new belt, so I got a new Gates belt for this and our old belt. So new on the right, old. Man, look at all that fraying and cracking. Should we see how bad the inside is? Oh, they're splitting. I don't know if you guys can see that. But yes, this belt is, man, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Focus. Parts of these, I mean, you can literally see the nubs separating. That's not a dark mark, that is a crack going through there. Do not let your cars go this far. It's not that bad of a job. Yeah, I mean, these belts are literally about to start sectioning off of here if I actually push on that. Or on the back side. I mean, this is bad, bad. I could probably rock this back and forth a handful of times and it's gonna snap. But let's check the distances or the lengths. Make sure that's right at least. A couple ways to kind of do that, but no need to worry about one or the other, but I think that looks pretty good to me. Super scientific. If you got nothing else going on in your life, go ahead and count the teeth if you want. I'm not gonna do that. But T252. I'm guessing there's no markings left on this one. Oh no, there actually is. I'm not using a Volvo belt, unfortunately, 954. Whatever. We'll try and get this one on tomorrow. I've had pretty good luck. Worst case, I gotta pull the belt off. Don't have to do the water pump. That's the hardest bit so far, was cleaning that, getting that prepped. Tomorrow, it is slip the belt through. Well, tomorrow, if there's time before and or after blasting the trailer, but trailer's first, man, I really did scratch it. Trailer's first priority. And then this, get the belt back on, route it along everything, get it set on the top cams, make sure timing hasn't moved because I have nothing holding anything in place. Put the tensioner back in, belt cover. I mean, there's really not, in the grander scheme, I did the water pump. You shouldn't have to do a water pump every time. This one was leaking, which is why that's getting done. But in terms of parts that came off of this, I have one skid shield, one 2-bolt plastic cover, timing cover up here, big timing cover, tensioner, a couple little brackets. This is everything that I've put on and taken off. There's really not that much to this. You can do it with regular tools. We did have to make one SERP belt tool, which was kind of a pain in the ass. But that was really easy. If you got a welder and some 3/4 bar stock, you can make that in a couple minutes. You do need a 30 mil socket to rotate the crank. But other than that, I mean, for a European car, I don't think it gets any simpler than this. The only goofy one is that T45 Torx that I need to get that pulley off, but if you're not replacing the pulley, I really don't need to take that off. I should, and it would have made this way easier getting the water pump in and out if that was gone. It's one bolt. But I tried borrowing my buddy's T45. I needed a stubby one. I think we'll be okay. So that's gonna wrap this one up for now. And I don't know, maybe we'll finish this up tomorrow, hopefully, if the trailer's done. We'll see. Catch ya when I catch ya. Well, I lied. New belt. I'm at least gonna get this onto the lower crank pulley. I'm not doing the full belt, but I would really like to at least get this back in because it was such a nightmare to get out of here. So what we're gonna do is run this at a 90-degree angle first and try and get this tucked into the pulley. Oh, no, you're blind, sorry. Man, old American cars are great. Everything is steel. On this, on the other hand, not so much the case. Maybe if I put that there, stick. Everything here is rounded edges and nothing actually bites. But what we're gonna do is try our bestest to wrestle this in. And now you are actually completely in my way, but that's okay. I'm gonna try and come around this side and sneak the belt in behind that weird little nub. Hopefully that showed up on camera yesterday. Oh. It's actually going in much better there. Oh my God. I really thought that was going to be substantially worse. Let's see if we can get it past the nub. We're almost there. So there's... That literally took me 2 hours to wrestle this belt. I don't know how much you guys are going to be able to see. There's a aluminum nub. You can see where my finger's pointing. That's a rubber piece right there. There's an aluminum nub. GoPro's too big to get in there. What if we come around this way? You can kind of see it. There's a bolt. Come on. Come on. That blocks your view too. That took me 2 hours. Well, not 2 hours. It probably took me about 45 minutes. Felt like 2 hours to get that belt out of there because that little rubber grommet, this piece right here where my finger is, was in the way. I didn't realize that that is just kind of loosely sitting on there. But now the belt is back over the nub and in around the crank. So now the next bit, I need to wrestle this through the plastic shield on this side. But there's a lot more room to do that. So we'll get this timing belt on and in place. I think. Where can I put you guys? There-ish. If my arms are in the way, I apologize. But here's the plastic timing cover, which is also a very tight fit, but not as bad as that aluminum bit, if I remember correctly. And this one actually moves a tiny bit more. Like that. Oh, that's weird. The music just started playing on its own. That's been off for the last hour. But yeah, timing belt is now on. So I'm just gonna jam some of this up there. That's the hardest little bit. We got the timing belt on the lower back end. Now I feel like we should just keep going. See the problem? Oh, I'll just do one more thing and then it turns into more than one more thing. But I was dreading that part. Let's see if we can just get this on and looped, and then we'll do the tensioner and the final stuff tomorrow. It's about as low as I can go. All right, so this is where it gets crappy because I would like to show you guys what this looks like. Let's see if we can get creative. So we are going to fish this belt up. So we're on the crank pulley down below. We need to go to the water pump. No, we need to go to the idler, then the water pump, like so. This is going to be terrible. I don't know where... Man, how do these actual channels that know what they're doing film any of this? You are very limited, but that's what we get. So on the crank pulley, up, down. And I gotta keep bouncing back and forth here, so I apologize. You know what? Actually, before we try any of the routing, let's snake this up and through and make sure we're clocked and oriented in the right direction. That's gonna be way easier. There's a million little shields and covers we still need to go over down at the bottom, but let's at least get the belt on where it's supposed to be. So we're in, up. You need to come in, through, and then twist back. Right there, we should be completely free on everything there on the timing drive. So we're wrapped around the bottom of the crank pulley now, which is good. Should be done down there, so I can put the light up here as well. Hopefully you guys can see anything now. This microphone needs to move because I keep hitting it. Oh, right in the coolant. Right, now our belt routing. Crank pulley goes around the tensioner. So we'll pull this in. And thought we were done. Sorry. The heater is still functioning the way it's supposed to. It's definitely a little bit warmer in here. I just turned it up a little bit higher. So this is the new tensioner they sent me. This is the old one. Wrong parts. So now I came over to the chopper barn. I'm gonna pop this collar off and we're gonna test this, and I might be putting the old tensioner back in. It's a $130 tensioner. 110 to 150, somewhere in between there is typically what the prices I've seen have been. But it's been working, and I think it should continue to keep working. So we're gonna check that. So let's go over to the vise and slow bleed this thing off to see if I'm ready to put this car back together, because I was really hoping to have it done and running by Wednesday. Apologize for being all crooked and weird, but we have a little retainer. This should come off. It's also very old and probably very dry rotted. So we're gonna slide that off. Chamfered edge goes up, so this slides on that way. The holes are pretty much lined up, close enough. But this needs to compress. So we are gonna try using our vise. You can do this with C clamps too. Hopefully this is big enough. If not, might need the actual. Come on. Really? I literally just drove all the way over here to try and make this work. My vise does not go wide enough to allow this to go in here and compress. So we're gonna have to C-clamp it. Basically, now that the shield is off, what we're gonna do is disconnect this, use a C-clamp, 6-inch probably, compress it, I don't know, like a half turn every minute or so until this is seated. Then we'll jam a pin back through here and check for oil leaks. But this has been working. It's been on the car for I don't know how many miles. It has been working. There's a good chance that should be okay, as long as we're not squirting fluid out past the seal when we start doing the actual... Do I have a C-clamp up here? As long as this doesn't start squirting fluid, it should still, in theory, work. Let me give a quick glance of what tools we have around here, because I feel like there was a C-clamp up here. If I can find one, we're going to go for it, because I want to know if I can put this in. I was really banking on trying to have this car back together so I can get the monitor things to clear. Oh, is that enough? It's way too big for what we needed to do. Wait, there's a small one. Alright, so I found one C-clamp that's way too big for what we actually need it for. But I think we're going to go for it. Use your vise. And then we might have to lube this up a little bit. But we can get this kind of close, I think. At least close enough to have a little bit of tension on it. Slide this cover off one more time. I love being a cheap bastard. So right there. Then we're going to start putting pressure on this. I'm not going too far here. We're going to gently set this on the vise. You guys are falling over. So we're going to slow crank this with the rusty threads and hope that we can get this to start compressing. And while this is setting up and slowly compressing, I'm going to look for some sort of PB blaster WD-40 that I should have up here, and keep cranking this probably half a turn, 3/4 of a turn every minute. We're going to go slow. Should take about 10-15 minutes, but we're going to try and get this seated all the way back, and then I'm going to steal, actually, sandblast clip will work perfect. I'll open that up and we'll jam that through and see if we have any fluid squirting out and go from there. Well, we're like 3 or 4 turns in and it's not leaking any hydraulic fluid. I put some genuine Harley fork oil because it's the closest oil fluid that I could find on the threads here. So that should make this a little bit easier to turn. But essentially what we're going to do, and I'm not filming every bit of this, but this is the tensioner. We're going to hold it kind of straight and steady, and we're going to keep doing that, 1/4 turn at a time, and see if we can get this to slowly compress far enough where we need it. And then when we're done, we're going to take a close look on the inside of this. It's hard to see it with the C-clamp, but there's a seal in there. As long as this seal isn't leaking fluid, I feel like this tensioner should be okay. As long as that has a constant pressure pushing out on the piston. This is why we're going slow. We're trying to compress down. If you crank on this or put it in the press and push down, it's going to squirt all that fluid down to the bottom and it's going to blow the seal out immediately. If we can slowly compress the hydraulic fluid, I think we should be in okay shape. It's been about 30 seconds, so we'll give this another turn. And so far, so good. Also, shop heater's working like $1 million. It's set at 65. I think that's probably about accurate. Just cranked it up to 75. I'm gonna let it get hot, and then we'll drop it back to 70. I don't think this barn is that well insulated, so I'm not expecting this to be nice and super toasty unless the heater's on. But if I can maintain, I gotta have like a nice 60-degree weather where it's comfortable to work in a hoodie. 55, 60. I'm spoiled, but we'll be back when this is all the way in, and then we'll take a look at the seal once I get a pin in there. So realistically, we have this hole on the body, that hole on the hydraulic cylinder. If this compresses far enough where I can get a pin in there, then we'll pull the C-clamp that'll hold that in place until I let it go, and we should be good to go. I did like 4 turns on this and then let it sit, and then I've been messing around with that compressor trying to diag that oil leak on the diesel compressor, which I'm fairly certain is something very stupid at the very bottom of that screw. But I was 1/8 an inch off from these lining up. Quarter turn, just let it sit and slow return. Look at that. My little C-clip drops right into the hole like it's supposed to. So on that note, we're going to separate this now and look in here, and it is absolutely bone dry. So that is working, and immediately after taking that out of the C-clamp, this dropped in there. This is already a tight fit, so we are good to go, provided that this isn't going to cause me problems on the reinstall. So we're going to tap that out a little bit more just to make it easier. And I messed up because I don't remember which way that actually goes. I don't know if it has to go this way or if this gets I messed up. I can see the head of the bolt here. This is witness marks, right? So the head of the bolt was here, not on the machined edge. So I'm gonna put the C-clamp back on, I'm gonna pinch this, I'm gonna pull this out, and then we're gonna turn this around because this needs to be on this side. Oh, well, we're all queued up. I know it's all working, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Tensioner getting reused, and that actually ends up saving me quite a bit of money because this is a $130 tensioner. The belt for the timing belt itself was like $16 for an actual Gates belt too. So, and I'm not even gonna go crazy. I'm just gonna turn that right there. You saw how tight this got, and then we're gonna let this sit and let's see what happens in real time. It's already free, so this is now free. We're gonna flip this 180, re-drop that back in. So, no movie magic. Pin, in, out, in, nice and easy, out. So we'll drop it back in here, the other side. Make sure we line it up through the hole. Uh-oh, what did I just do? This did line up. Let's spin it. Sorry, I'm one-eyeing this through the window. Right there. So, you guys have the inside spot, I have the outside. We're gonna drop this right back in. Didn't get tight, it just shifted a little bit. But I can't tell which way. There we go. That way. So, wide open, in, out, pin slides right in. Come on. Please take my word for it. I'm not making this up. Oh, yeah. There we go. In, out, in, out. Now, as soon as I loosen the tension on this now, the pin is in and holding it in place. This is the way I need to pull it out. So we'll drop this in there far enough. Quarter turn, quarter turn, quarter turn. That seal is bone dry. So we should be good. But now, this is really tight. I can walk it out if I twist and pull. But that, to me, tells me that this pin is hydraulically pushing out. There's no leaks down at the bottom, no leaks on the top. So we're gonna ship this whenever I can get back to the Volvo. This is way longer than I wanted to be tonight. We'll catch you on the next one for the final install on the Volvo Wagon.